It's being called the storm of the century. Hurricane Melissa has made landfall in the island nation of Jamaica with sustained winds of 185 miles per hour. This marks the strongest storm to hit the country since record keeping began 174 years ago, and one of the strongest Atlantic storms ever recorded. Jamaica's prime minister says the government has done all it can do to prepare for the storm, but no infrastructure there can withstand a Category 5 hurricane. For more on Melissa, CBS News New York meteorologist Scott Padgett joins us now here in studio. Scott, thank you for being here. You and I were discussing this. We're not just talking about strongest storm to hit Jamaica. We're talking about one of the strongest ever globally.
Yeah, that's right. You know, with winds sustained at 185 miles per hour, it's nothing you ever want to see. You know, we did have a hurricane. It was Hurricane Allen that had 190 mile per hour sustained winds. So this is going to be devastation for days. They're going to be having to recover.
So we're talking only 5 miles per hour less than the highest, the strongest storm ever recorded.
That we've seen that is recorded in recorded history. And unfortunately, it's a slow moving storm. So with that in mind, it's going to take some time to move over the island nation of Jamaica and continue just to whip those winds around. The landfall just about an hour ago. Now remember, landfall is when that center of the circulation works its way on in. So that's what we've been continuing to look at right now. And you can see this is the center of circulation right there. So the winds from that already were working their way on shore as we went through the day today. Now, as we zoomed our way on in, there's Black River. Right there is that center of circulation. So that's where we then had landfall about an hour ago. But you can see through the night, through the morning hours, all of the winds driving all that water on shore and continuing that high storm surge right around that center of circulation. It's calm right now, but that backside, that's when the winds really start to pick up even more. So where is it going? The projected path as we go through the remainder of the day today, unfortunately, it's a slow mover. Right now, moving north-northeast at 8, so it's picked up a little bit of forward speed. It is going to be moving its way over parts of Jamaica and then continuing out over the open water and then making landfall in parts of Cuba, still as a major hurricane. So it will then continue to work its way offshore and then either further off towards parts of the West Atlantic, downgrading to a Category 2, then a Category 1, getting closer towards Bermuda. But since it's such a slow mover, that's the problem that we're looking at with the intense winds. Winds sustained at 185 miles per hour. But Lindsay, think about this. At one point, we were talking about winds gusting up to more than 200 miles per hour. At last check, that's one of the highest wind gusts ever recorded for a hurricane as well.
All right, so let's talk about a few things to really zero in here on Melissa. Let's talk about the wind field. What does that mean and how big is it?
All right, so the wind field is the winds around the center of circulation. So right around that eye, you have those hurricane force winds, but then there's tropical storm force winds that stretch out even further than that. So we were looking at this, and weather producer and I were estimating this about 400 miles in diameter. Those winds. It's a large storm. So the tropical storm force winds are out by about 195 miles, but across from one side to the other side, it's about 400 miles of a wind field. That's going to shrink as it works its way northeast, but still right now, it's affecting Haiti. It's already affecting parts of Cuba. It's going to be affecting the Bahamas and, of course, Jamaica.
When will people in Jamaica sort of be in the safe zone? When will the worst be over for them?
It's not going to be until later tonight, I think, until probably tomorrow morning as far as the strongest winds and the rain is concerned. Because on top of that, we always talk about the winds, right? We talk about the storm surge, but it's that inland flooding as well. More than 30 inches of rain in Jamaica falling. So that's going to cause landslides. Landslides have already happened. Power has happened. Trees down, power outages. It's going to be not days. I think it's going to be weeks, if not months, for recovery.
And we had heard from officials there saying that, look, they're as prepared as they can be, but their infrastructure just simply can't handle this. Let's talk about the last hurricane to hit Jamaica. It was Gilbert, and that was a Cat 3, right?
It was a Cat 3. It was a major hurricane. So you're at a Cat 3. That's major hurricane status or higher. So we have a graphic to show you right now of Gilbert's path. And you can see it made its way from the east and then worked its way pretty much along the island. So right along that axis, it was 1988. We're thinking in September, landfall as a Category 3. So Jamaica has not seen a major hurricane since 1988. So causing devastation there as it worked right over the axis. Now you can see with Melissa, it's going to be working its way further towards the north and the east. So I'm sure it's still fresh in a lot of people's minds that lived back in that time. But this was one that Melissa will get retired off of the hurricane list when it causes devastation like this. Wow.